The journey to financial freedom requires us to drive through debt. And for some of us, that's where our journey ends. My name is Darius.
And I'm Carmen. In this video, we are going to discuss 3 strategies to crush your debt and pave the way to start using your funds to invest. But before we jump into all of that information, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. This significantly helps us grow our channel and our reach on YouTube.
Right. Now, being debt-free is a game changer when it comes to your financial journey, because major obstacles like debt, it prevents you from building wealth because you're giving that wealth to somebody else. And when I mean somebody else, is whoever is financing that debt for you. The interest that you're paying is interest that you could be investing. So it's a major obstacle for most of us. And that's, again, how most of us don't get started, because all of our earned income is going to paying debt. And this was a life lesson, I'd say, specifically for myself, because as I was consuming and using a lot of my income to, pay off credit cards or pay off my car note or pay for our mortgage of our house, like I didn't see another way out, or had no idea that there was another way out. And so it wasn't until we started surrounding ourselves with other individuals where they were talking about disposable income. What the hell is disposable income? You got more money to do other stuff? Yeah, you don't know about disposable income because you don't have any.
You don't have any, right? And then thinking about investing. Well, what do you mean investing? Like, I have my 401k. Does that work? Like, no, we were so behind the 8 ball. And it was just, again, because we weren't aware of our opportunities. So again, that's why we're here, fam, is to continue to help all of you all see your opportunities and help you achieve those opportunities so that you can get out of debt and start achieving financial freedom.
Now that we had that discussion, our debt, how do we move forward in our debt journey? We have to understand our current debt situation. Now, I'm going to do something a little different in this video. I'm actually going to tell you to get a piece of paper and a pencil so we can start assessing our debt situation. So the very first thing we're going to do, even an Excel sheet, pull up an Excel sheet on a screen or something, because we want you to take a look at this today. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to write the number 1.
We're doing this together.
We're doing this together. You're going to write the number 1 on a piece of paper. And then in column 2, what you're going to do is do a brief description of what the debt is. Be it a credit card, a personal loan. What is the name of it? Is it Venture X? Is it a Group A Stafford because you're trying to pay off a student loan?
I like this. We need a new segment on YouTube called Debt with Darius. And it's just you walking through things. Keep going. I'm sorry.
The third column is going to be your balance. All these are titles. That's going to be your balance. How much do you owe on this debt? Is it $5,137.22? You want to put that right next to the description.
Was that a bill we just paid? That was so specific.
So obviously I do this often. All right. The column number 4 is going to be your monthly payment. What is the minimum monthly payment that you pay on the debt that we just put a balance for? Next is going to be the interest rate. That's going to be column number 5. And then column number 6 is going to be your payoff date. Now I want you to repeat these steps for all your debts except your mortgage. And the reason why these numbers are so important, because what you're able to calculate is you can take your minimum payment and multiply it by the amount of time that you have to pay it off. However many months that you have. And what you will quickly realize is that the interest that is in column number 5 may be a little different than the actual interest that you pay.
Yeah.
And what that is more motivation for you to get out of this debt, because all that money is money that you do have available that you can be investing once you get out of debt.
Yeah. And what I want to do is I want to encourage you all to actually follow this exercise that Darius did, because we didn't have somebody sharing this information with us, right? We just kept paying our debts and not thinking anything of it because we could afford the minimum payment, right? But being able to afford a minimum payment just means that you are not in a great situation because you have debt in the first place because you couldn't pay for something outright. Okay, so you have to understand the difference is the reason why you have debt is because you couldn't afford something. So although debt was convenient and it was a service available to you at the time, we have to really get out of this debt system so that you can continue to create financial freedom. And you're not going to create financial freedom if you are continuing to be consumed with consumer debt.
Right.
So going back to that spreadsheet, take time, fill all of it out, and really, it may take you a little while, right? Because you have to go determine the balance. You have to go determine the minimum payment. You have to go look at the interest rate and the payoff date. Really, the things that are going to take you the longest to find is probably the interest rate and the payoff date. But with online banking these days, it makes it really easy for you to source that information. Right. And what I want you to do with that, right? I don't want to get ahead of your debt with Darius situation, but look at all of the totals and look at how much money you're spending every single month on your minimum payments. Were you going to say that?
No.
Okay, perfect.
What I was going to say is now that we've listed out everything, we have to pick a strategy to get us out of debt. And now there's 3 different strategies, and I want you to pick the one that's most convenient for you, not the one that's going to get you out of debt the fastest, the one that's most convenient for you and your spending habits, because it's something that's going to take time. It took time for us to get into debt, and it's going to take that same amount of time to get us out of debt. So if we want to crush debt and gain control of our finances, the very first strategy is going to be the debt snowball method. That's probably the most popular one, and that's the one we use, because what the debt snowball allows us to do is it organizes our debts by the smallest minimum payment. And then with that smallest minimum payment, what we do is we pay off that smallest minimum payment first, the smallest balance first, and then we move on to the second smallest payment. We take the money that we are no longer putting on that first debt, and then we apply it to the second debt.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
What that does is it allows us to see progress faster. And what that does is it gets us excited and it gets us motivated to continue the journey. So for us, that was the best one for us personally, because we were able to see the results.
Wins. Yeah, we saw the wins quickly, like thinking about paying off one balance and the next, because we were going from smallest to largest. For our personalities and how it worked, the debt snowball was our jam.
Right. The next one is going to be the debt avalanche method. And the debt avalanche method allows you to pay off the highest interest debt first. So you prioritize your Excel sheet with the highest interest first. What that does is it may be the fastest method because the most money that you're putting aside, or the highest minimum payment, may be the one with the highest interest rate.
Yeah.
So it may take a little longer initially, but you'll free up money, significant amounts of money to pay off your debt through interest payments.
And what you'll see with this circumstance is that your balances are going to differ. Whereas like the debt snowball, you're starting from smallest and working your way up to the largest. When you're doing the avalanche, you may be paying off one debt, then a small debt, then a big debt, then a small debt. It may be different. So that's why some people may or may not prefer this method, because like Darius said, you may be paying off a larger balance first, and that may take you a little bit longer to get some ground, but that you've knocked off the highest interest rate right out of the gate. So it just depends on what you choose to do.
Right. Now, the last one is debt consolidation option. This is an option that you have. It's not one that we've ever considered, but it's an option that you have, because what a debt consolidation does is it takes all your debt and it makes it into one payment. So instead of you making 15 different minimum payments, like we did with all the credit cards and personal loans that we had, you just make one payment. That's one of the pros. One of the cons is you may take a hit to your credit because you're no longer going to have access to using those credit cards or debts that you have.
Now, the other thing to keep in mind is that through any of these systems, when you're done paying off one debt, be done with paying off that debt. Go chop up the credit card, go drop it off a cliff somewhere. Like, you do not use these credit cards moving forward. The whole point of getting out of debt is to free yourself and to free up the cash flow that you were paying in minimum payments, right? Referring back to that spreadsheet that you filled out, you absolutely have to make sure that you are disciplined and you stay focused on creating freedom, because freedom is really what you want, and not getting back into debt and going through this hamster wheel. That's not what you want. That's not where you want to be.
Right. Going back to our situation, when we were in credit card debt, the $120,000 of credit card debt that we had, once we got out of debt, I was afraid of credit cards.
Oh, man.
It took a couple years for us to...
Oh, man. We could mention credit cards around this guy.
No, I just remember where we started from, of how I felt when we were in that studio apartment and I was in that dark room just looking at the board and looking at all our debts. Like it did something to me, and it took me some time to get out of that. And it wasn't until we met with Denzel Rodriguez that I started to come around to debt. I mean, to credit cards.
Yeah, and anytime credit cards would come up, Darius would be like the shakes, like, no, we can't talk about it. We can't talk about it. But I'm joking. But at the same time, this is a really serious situation, right?
Yeah.
Because you just don't know how much your mental health is going to take a toll with your finances, right? A lot of times we're able to just kind of like brush things under the rug and you don't think about it. But when we consider finances, I mean, finances is the reason why 50% of marriages don't last. You know, finances is the reason why many people are in therapy and their mental health is compromised. So although we're joking, we've come out of that and we've kind of seen the sunshine, but we've had some really dark days where we just didn't know what we were going to do, how we were going to get out of debt, and what life could look like, you know, being out of this six-figure debt. It was very crippling. And so we want you to know that it is okay to not be okay, as long as you know that there is a solution and that you're taking small wins every single day to get yourself in a better situation.
Right. Now, are you looking for a life insurance policy specifically designed to help you accomplish your financial goals?
And if you have a policy, or if you're looking for more education, would you like to be a part of a community with like-minded individuals who are all using life insurance to accomplish their financial goals? If so, click on the link below. We would love for you to join the Wealth Nation Money School.
The next thing I want to discuss is the fact that we discuss strategies. Now, we have to realize that debt freedom requires you to budget. That money has to come from somewhere. If you're not going to go out and make additional income, you don't necessarily have to go out and make additional income. I promise you already have the income. You just have to spend it a little better. So you have to realize that budgeting for debt freedom is crucial to your journey in becoming debt free. So creating a detailed budget, understanding how much money's coming in versus how much money is going out, and where you can reallocate funds, because you may have to cut unnecessary expenses. Carmen and I, our problem was going out to restaurants. It was eating out. We would eat out breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we didn't necessarily have to. But as we looked at our budget over and over again, it finally clicked for us that it doesn't make sense for us to eat out as much as we do. So we're able to reallocate those funds to spend it better. And I think a light bulb for us that went off is the fact that every time we spend money, it's an investment.
Not in our pocket.
Away from us. It's an investment. And a restaurant is a bad investment because you eat the money and you poop it out later. So that's a horrible investment. Every dollar that we spend, we looked at it as an investment, and does it make sense to will this investment make money for us?
So as I was listening to Darius, the thing that I want to make sure that you don't misunderstand is we're not saying don't treat yourself, right? So you do deserve to do things that you enjoy and have fun and experience life. What we're trying to get you to see is the overarching theme of just recognizing where your spending is going. We all know that we have excess spending in certain areas. So is there a way that you can potentially trim the fat? That's all that we're talking about. And that's really what a budget is for, because sometimes people look at a budget and think that it's restricting and that you can't do anything. No, it's just about having a plan. It's like having a map for, every time that you leave the house. You know that maybe you'll run into traffic, or maybe there's going to be a detour or whatever it is, but you have a plan. There is a map somewhere that's involved. So that's all that a budget is just looking at it as a map. And really, you create the budget around your lifestyle. So you have the ability to make it what it is and to make it the best experience that you possibly can make it. So just keep that in mind, because this is your budget. It's not us telling you how to manage your money. It's you telling you how to manage your money.
Right. I think at the end of the day, you have to be consistent, and whatever makes you consistent, then do that. If it means that you need to set some money aside to go out to restaurants or to treat yourself, make sure you do that. But the whole point of money is for it to make money. Money is a tool, a tool that we use to make more money.
Absolutely. And with this whole process, we want to continue to make sure that you understand discipline. That's the underlying concept that needs to happen with this whole process of everything that we've talked about, from the debt snowball to the debt avalanche to consolidation, and just the overall insight of knowing that you need to get out of debt. So going back to the whole discipline play, and discipline is really going to come when you are in alignment with what your goals are, when your goals become bigger than spending excessively. So really getting in touch with yourself and your family's goals, because for Darius and I, we had to come together and determine what were our shared goals and what were our individual goals, so that we can enjoy the life and continue owning our own lifestyle.
Right. Now, with that, what we need to make sure that we do prioritize is our savings. There's no way that you can have the intention of making money or investing in the future or getting out of debt without saving money, because things do come up. The fact that things came up may be a reason why you're in the debt in the first place, and it just kept spiraling from there. By prioritizing savings, it's going to protect you from when things come up. Now that we have this savings account as a priority, and we're getting out of debt and we're disciplined as we transition from debt to investing, there's going to be a balancing act that we're going to play, because not as much of our money is going to be going to debt. We're going to have more money going to savings. Now, the money that we have in savings isn't making us any money. What we want that to do is jumpstart our investing. So moving forward, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how we're going to jumpstart our investing, and that starts with understanding exactly what you want to invest in, understanding compounding, which is essential to successful investing. Compounding is interest on interest. And up until this point, what we've been doing is we've been paying compound interest. Our credit cards, for example, they compound on a daily basis. Our mortgage, it compounds. If we have a 4% interest rate or 5% interest rate over 30 years, and our mortgage is over $200,000, in that 30 years, we're going to pay double the cost because of compounding. So instead of us being on the wrong end of it, with us being able to jumpstart our investing and our understanding, we can be on the right side of compounding.
Exactly. And we don't want to get too far ahead, because we have had a lot in this discussion today, right? Because, as you see, Darius lights up when we start talking about investing, as he should, because this is so exciting. What you need to focus on first, like we said, discipline. Get your ducks in a row, start that spreadsheet, start tracking what's happening with your spending so that you can start reducing your debt. And the idea, or that light at the end of the tunnel that we want you to know, is investing. When you get out of debt, we want you to funnel all of that cash flow to start making more money, so that you can start creating passive income and freeing yourself from your active income. Because at the end of the day, we all love and enjoy to do specific things. So let's try to put ourselves in a better situation so that we can love to do more of those things, and we have the income to be able to do so. All right, so let's wrap everything up. We've talked about debt. We've gotten you on the path to start discovering the debt and how you can free yourself from debt, right? So what we want to continue to do is foster that education so that you can see the other options that you have. We all know with the Wealth Nation channel, we talk about how to use your whole life insurance policy to finance your lifestyle. So maybe once you have a handle on this whole debt process, and if you have some additional funds, you can potentially look into the concept that we call infinite banking. And if that doesn't make sense for you, then we also have the opportunity for you to join the Wealth Nation community so we can continue to learn together and get out of debt and make more investments to accomplish our financial goals. So what I want you to do, Wealth Nation, is go ahead and check out our next video so we can look at all of the options that you have to get out of debt, explore passive income, and to create financial freedom.
Remember to own your own lifestyle,
or someone else will.